You've probably seen the headlines, a messy Hollywood breakup. But this isn't just any breakup. We're talking about Tom Cruise. And the recent news about his split from Ana de Armas, well, it opens up a story that is way stranger and honestly, a lot more disturbing than you might think.
So the whole thing kicks off with this pretty dramatic claim. A source says Tom Cruise feels totally used and manipulated. He apparently thought the whole relationship was just a one-way street. But there's another way to look at this. Maybe Ana de Armas actually dodged a massive bullet, escaping a pattern that's been in the making for decades.
The story that tabloids are telling is kind of what you'd expect. He was apparently about to propose, but she felt like the whole thing was just too much. Friends were saying she felt suffocated, even micromanaged. And, that feeling probably got worse once the shiny Hollywood romance started to wear off.
But come on, is this really just another case of two famous people who couldn't make it work? Or is this breakup a clue, a little thread that, if you pull on it, reveals a much deeper, more calculated pattern that has defined Tom Cruise's entire romantic life? That's the question we're going to dig into.
Because when you really start to look at Tom Cruise's relationship history, what you find is this wild web of coincidences, a really strange pattern of numbers, control, and the powerful kind of hidden influence of the Church of Scientology.
Yeah, over and over again, these four things just keep popping up. The huge role of his religion, a history of 3 very specific divorces, a pretty obvious preference for younger partners, and these consistent stories about an intense need for control. Put them all together, and it's like a blueprint for a really bizarre puzzle.
And then there's this, the number 33. At first glance, it seems completely random, right? But in the story of Tom Cruise and the women he married, it seems to be anything but. In fact, this number might just be the key to the whole pattern.
People have actually given it a name, the Age 33 Curse. It's this chilling theory that every single one of Tom Cruise's marriages had a built-in expiration date, and that date was the year his wife turned 33. I know it sounds like some wild internet conspiracy theory, but the evidence is, well, it's pretty compelling.
So, to really understand just how compelling this is, we need to take a look at the women who were once at the very center of his world, his 3 ex-wives, Mimi Rogers, Nicole Kidman, and Katie Holmes.
Okay, just look at the numbers here. Mimi Rogers, their marriage ends the year she turns 33. Nicole Kidman, after a whole decade together and 2 kids, their marriage ends the year she turns 33. And Katie Holmes, you guessed it, their marriage ends the year she turns 33. We're talking 3 different women across 3 different decades with the exact same uncanny similarity.
And if that isn't weird enough, the numerical patterns get even stranger. Each of his wives was born exactly 11 years after the one before her. Mimi in 56, Nicole in 67, and Katie in 78. At a certain point, coincidence just doesn't feel like the right word anymore. It starts to feel like a design.
All right, let's zoom in on that last marriage. We all remember the public version, right? The couch jumping on Oprah, the whirlwind romance, that fairy tale wedding in an Italian castle. It was a total Hollywood dream. But behind the curtain, a completely different story was playing out. A story of fear, of control, and a meticulously planned escape.
And we know this isn't just some tabloid gossip. This is a fact. Under oath, during a deposition, Tom Cruise himself admitted it. One of the main reasons Katie Holmes left him was to protect their daughter, Suri, from getting too deep into Scientology. That's a huge, direct confirmation of the church's role in their lives.
So that raises a pretty logical and kind of chilling question. If the church has the power to influence the end of a relationship it doesn't like, does it also have the power to engineer one that it does want to happen?
And that leads us to this absolutely shocking expose from Vanity Fair. It uncovered this alleged secret church-run audition process, and it was designed for one single purpose: to find Tom Cruise his next partner after he split from Nicole Kidman.
So, according to this report, a young actress named Nazanin Boniadi was picked. She was apparently told it was some kind of hush-hush mission. What happened next was a month of intense prep work. We're talking daily auditing, which are these intense spiritual counseling sessions, and a complete makeover. And when this curated romance inevitably fell apart, the fallout for her was reportedly just devastating.
I mean, this timeline shows you just how fast her entire life got turned upside down. In October, she's a dedicated Scientologist. By November, she's being totally groomed to be Cruise's next girlfriend. And then by January, it's all over, supposedly because she insulted a high-ranking church official.
and her punishment for this so-called failure was allegedly manual labor, scrubbing toilets with a toothbrush and digging ditches in the middle of the night.
Her own words, reported by sources in the exposé, just paint this harrowing picture. She felt like a victim of white slavery. She believed she was moved across state lines under the fake promise of a special project, only to end up trapped in a situation she had absolutely no control over.
So, with this insane history of numerical patterns, alleged control, and direct church intervention, let's circle all the way back to where we started, the breakup with Ana de Armas.
But here's where the story takes a really fascinating turn. Ana de Armas is 37 years old. She is well past that infamous age 33 curse that seemed to be the expiration date for his 3 marriages. For the first time in decades, the pattern was broken.
So what does that mean? Did Ana de Armas manage to dodge a bullet here, actively breaking free from a cycle that's been going on for decades? Or, when you consider all the very specific patterns we've just seen, was she maybe just never the right fit to begin with? The answer, like pretty much everything else in this story, is a mystery, hidden behind the closed doors of Hollywood and a very powerful church